loud. So, The Rising Storm kind of killed me. This book is so good, but it's just so emotionally crippling, especially the ending. So, because this new era, the High Republic era, is so separated from the rest of Star Wars canon, pretty much any character can die, except Yoda, I think. And the authors are very aware of that and are constantly playing with that expectation. It's constantly teasing you, like, ooh, is this character gonna die, or is the character gonna survive, or ooh, is he gonna make it? And it gets really emotional, you know? After a while, you're like, okay, I'm used to this. And then the ending just hits you, and it's like, ah. Just to cope with the whole ending of the thing and the Loden storyline, I must have spent $30 to $40 on more Star Wars books and stuff on eBay, you know, just as a coping mechanism. I really probably should get better about my spending habits, but you know what? I've got some savings. I'll probably be okay. So I distance myself from my total heartbreak on the part of Loden Greatstorm, Great Jedi Master. Let's talk about some other things I noticed while reading the book that make me less sad. Something I noticed was just how progressive this book is, at least in terms of gender roles and LGBT representation. It's really pretty cool. I'm just going from 90s books, which have none of that, to this book, which came out on June 29th, and maybe it just seems more progressive in comparison. But I don't know, something about this one felt especially progressive. But I don't know, this book feels exceptional compared not only to 90s books, but also to more recent ones from just a few years ago, including Thrawn 2017, Alphabet Squadron, which, by the way, is a bi main character and a gay main character, or Light of the Jedi. I don't know, going back to those 90s books, I was reading the Hand of Thrawn duology recently. I finished it, you know, I did those reviews, thought it was really good. But, you know, there wasn't much in terms of LGBT representation. I'd see characters like Carolee and Shada, or Pelion and Thrawn, and be like, ooh, I ship it. I know it's not gonna actually happen, but ooh, that'd be pretty cool. I see something there. To this book, where I'd be like, ooh, that looks pretty cool. I ship it. I see something there. And then having it actually confirm it, like with Ty and Mantessa's daughter, or Kip and Jom, and it's just, it feels very strange, but you know, it's kind of validating. It's pretty nice. You know, kind of similarly, in 90s Star Wars books, you'll have women trying to hold back tears and keep their womanly emotions from overwhelming them. But in this book, you know, apart from the normal Jedi emotion repression stuff, people are pretty much just allowed to feel their feelings and express them openly, which I know is not really foreign concept, but yeah, you know, and it's not just women either. You know, men, especially Stellan, are just allowed to cry because they care about people and stuff has happened. And it's just, I think that's pretty cool, honestly. Oh, also, this book might actually pass the Bechdel test. Not many Star Wars books I've read so far. In fact, probably none of them have actually passed the Bechdel test. For those of you who don't know, the Bechdel test is a feminist critique of media, which tests a piece of media to see if there are two developed female characters who have a conversation that is not about a man. It seems like a pretty low bar, but you'd be surprised how little media actually meets it. Look, I love the Hand of Thrawn duology and the Thrawn trilogy and Thrawn 2017, But those books just absolutely do not pass the Bechdel test. I love Zahn, but he does not write a lot of women into his books. I guess since I'm in the mood to talk about similarities and differences between the Rising Storm and the Hand of Thrawn duology, I'm gonna do that for a little bit. In this book, the Jedi have a real hesitancy to kill, and they seem to be haunted by the voices of those whose lives they took. And that sort of ethical hesitancy and everything reminds me a lot of Luke's moral codes in post-Endor Legends books. You know, he's very afraid of falling over to the dark side, again, if it's after Dark Empire. He doesn't want to do things that he perceives as un-Jedi-like, you know. He doesn't like being especially violent, he doesn't like being especially cruel to people, which, you know, those are good things. But that real hesitancy and lack of confidence is present in this book too. And I think it's really interesting, the connections between those two. In fact, it might even be intentional. I noticed a lot of references to other Star Wars media in this book. Cavan Scott seems to be a big fan of a lot of Legend stuff. So that might not actually be a coincidence, which is pretty cool. A really interesting parallel plot beat in between The Rising Storm and Hand of Thrawn, I believe specifically Vision of the Future, is the Jedi mind melding that occurs between a pair of characters in each. In Vision of the Future, it's Luke and Mara, and in The Rising Storm, it's between Elzar and Ty. The contrast between them is very interesting too. While the mind melding that occurs between Luke and Mara is very romantic in nature and ultimately leads to them getting together, the one between Elzar and Ty is the opposite, because Ty is, of course, a space lesbian who is not interested in Elzar at all, and she tells him that. But you know what? They're both totally cool with this. It is a totally platonic mind meld, and it works just as well as Zahn's romantic one. Ty and Mara learn how to better deal with their past and confront them, while Luke and Elzar learn to be more confident in their decisions and their morality, and how to deal with their feelings better. It furthers all parties' character growth, even if one mind melding is romantic and one is entirely platonic. I heard people say they cried at this book, and yeah, I mean, I didn't personally, because I don't feel much more than hunger and anxiety at this point, but you know, it did definitely affect me emotionally, as you could probably tell from the opening. Yeah, the ending of this book is a lot. This is the whole Loden Greatstorm thing that broke me. After having him seemingly die in the last book and then revealing that he was actually alive, and then seeing what had been done to him and all that he'd gone through, then having him reunite with his Padawan, and they're gonna escape and it's all gonna be swell. And then the Great Leveler comes and turns him to stone and kills him, and he dies in his Padawan's hand. Why do you have to die, Loden? Next week I'll maybe talk about Survivor's Quest or something. Bye. Idiot.